Hey guys, it's Simi, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. As we are here on the, what's today's day? 27th of September, 2020, to talk about everything that went down a little about, 45 minutes ago or so on WWE Clash of Champions. As you can see, we've got some guests with us from the Call It in the Ring podcast. We've got Joel, and we got the birthday boy, Tim, as well. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's my birthday. It's been a fun evening.
So you call watching Clash of Champions a fun evening?
Oh yeah. It was pretty good. Well, the last two matches were pretty good. So I'm content.
Joel, what did you think of the show?
Overall, it was actually a pretty good show. I think it exceeded some expectations, and we said it in our predictions. It was going to be a good show. It wasn't going to be super memorable, but I think the last two matches and the opener gave us a lot to talk about.
Right.
Totally.
And Tim, if you can say like one thing about the show that you had, like a takeaway, what would you think?
I honestly think that Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton went a way that I did not expect. Truly. Like I kind of wasn't super surprised by, all of Randy's skeletons in his closet coming out. That wasn't like a huge surprise. But Drew winning was to me, and I think
me too.
It was a really good match. Like I think it, and I think it's memorable. Like I think I would rewatch that match, and I can't say that has always been the case for recent pay-per-views.
Exactly. And Joel, what's your one takeaway?
Never underestimate good storytelling with banter. That's the takeaway.
Nice one.
Yeah, totally.
So with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining us here tonight, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Remember, if you miss any of this podcast or any of our previous podcasts that we record here, you can catch them youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, you can support us here a couple different ways, either with some bits or with those subscriptions, either a tiered subscription or a free subscription. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have what they now call Prime Gaming. And with Prime Gaming, you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel that you want to support. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you supported us here at PWUnlimited, because with that Prime Gaming, it doesn't cost you anything if you're already paying that $12 to Amazon. So with that, first question I always ask people, did you watch the pre-show or the pre-show match?
I'm real burnt about this. I'm so upset. So I thought it was Zelina Asuka. It's my birthday. My in-laws called me like 20 minutes before the start of the show. And then we had all the other stuff because we were going to do the live stream watch along. And I missed it. And Zelina Asuka got moved, and it was the tag title match that I was actually excited to watch. And I missed it. And I'm a bit burnt about it. How about you, Joel? You caught it?
I did catch it. It was a good match, and it kind of lived up to the expectations that we thought it would. But I'm ready for that feud to move on all accounts.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So we'll just I usually just quickly recap the kickoff match because most people skip it. But Cesaro was in control early. Lince Dorado and Kalisto worked together to take over. Kalisto hit a big splash off of Dorado's shoulders at one point and got a near fall off of it. Later on in the match, Nakamura missed a running knee in the corner. Dorado fought back and hit a flying crossbody. Cesaro got the hot tag and knocked Kalisto off the apron. The heel team took over, and they continued to beat down Lince Dorado in a really cool spot on the outside. So Kalisto was going for a DDT, and Cesaro stopped it in midair kind of deal and held him up there. So Lince dove through the ropes to kind of help Kalisto's momentum swing Cesaro around and actually hit that DDT, which is a really cool spot. I haven't seen something like that before. Yet, well...
Joel, is that the one that you were talking about?
No, we'll get to that. Yeah, we're going to get to that, I think, in a sec.
This then enabled Kalisto, like I said, to hit the DDT. Kalisto hit 3 moonsaults off of each of the turnbuckles on Cesaro for a near fall.
So can I hop in for a
Go
sec?
for it.
So I'll correct you. They actually tagged in and out.
Oh, okay.
Each hit so one hit from the bottom turnbuckle, tag out, then from the second turnbuckle, tag out, and then Kalisto from the third. And it was, to me, that was a fantastic sequence. I was really, really impressed by that.
Gotcha.
I'm happy we're doing this. Because I'm devastated. I missed it. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
Oh, it was a fun match for sure. Towards the end of the match, Nakamura yanked Dorado off the apron and took him out with a suplex on the floor. The finish of the match then came when Cesaro gave Kalisto a giant swing into a knee, and then Nakamura picked up the victory.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Tim said he didn't watch the pre-show. Joel, did you watch anything else on the pre-show?
I caught about 99% of the pre-show.
So did you see when they were making fun of Retribution?
When I saw it, I saw Booker T putting up for Retribution.
Well, so if you guys didn't see the beginning of the kickoff show, so Charlie Caruso's introducing JBL and Booker T and Peter Rosenberg or whatever, and she introduces Booker first, and Booker goes, I just want to say big props to T-Bar. I'm immune tonight. I got immunity from Retribution. Or he goes, from Retribution, that's their name, right? Huh? Am I right? And then they start talking, and they're like, oh, yeah, if anyone's going to come after anybody here from Retribution, they're coming after you, Rosenberg. And Rosenberg's like, hey, we don't want to mess with T-Bar and Slapjack. And freaking Booker goes, don't forget about Mace, and literally just starts belly laughing when he says, don't forget about Mace.
Okay, so here's my problem with Booker T in this day and age. Booker T has this hate on for other black wrestlers, and I don't get it. It's like, Mace is great. Dio Madden is a great wrestler.
Right.
Why can't Booker T put over Mace at all? Everyone else is great, but for some reason, it's always that one black performer. He's got a problem with all of them at one point in time. It makes no sense.
I was just like, my thought was just like, Retribution's supposed to, and it was funny because Charlie Caruso just, after Booker starts laughing, she just goes, they're all dangerous men. Like trying to put it over, like trying to fix the situation because she knows. Because JBL the whole time just looks confused. Like, what are you talking about?
I haven't watched the show in 6 weeks. What's
yeah,
going on?
and this was literally, which most people probably missed it, but it was literally within the first, I don't know, 5-6 minutes of the start of the kickoff show.
Oh, that's wild. I might go back and watch
it. It was just like, they're like, oh yeah, if Retribution can come out here for anybody, it's going to be you, Rosenberg. And Rosenberg's like, whoa, we don't want to make T-Bar and Slapjack mad. And that's when Booker comes in, starts to talk about, he's like, don't forget Mace. And then he literally almost goes, he was like this in his chair, back, and just belly laughing. I'm like, that's the way to put them over. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Before I'll say it again, the only Slapjack that I will ever acknowledge is Stevie Ray.
There you go. So in a move I didn't expect, they did the little intro, and it was narrated by John Cena, which I was like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't expect that at all. And then we got all the jokes of John Cena's back, but we can't see him.
That's pretty good. But, I didn't even go there in my head. I was just like, is that John Cena?
Well, I tweeted because I missed where it said. I went back and checked it, but at the beginning it says narrated by John Cena, 16-time world champion. But I missed that part, so I'm like, I tweeted out, "This is Cena, narrating, right? Am I wrong?" And everyone's like, "It is, but we can't see him."
I mean, I also forgot that he was banished to the void or whatever happens after, you do battle with the Fiend. So
as we move on to the main card, the show opened up with just no pun intended at AJ Styles, but phenomenal ladder match. Triple threat match, Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. And there was a couple of innovative spots in this match that I've never seen before, which I really liked. That it wasn't your typical ladder match. They tried to do things that some may have or may have never seen before. So
I went into this pay-per-view with like bottom of the barrel expectations, honestly. So I very pleasantly surprised. The ladder match was the match I was the most excited for.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't disappoint me at all. Like, I'm very, very happy. And they gave Sami the win.
Well, so I'm here for that. I didn't expect that one bit.
No, I wanted it. I ardently wanted it, but I'm surprised they actually did
especially
it. Especially
after how SmackDown ended, AJ stood tall, Sami picked up the win, so I go, oh, Jeff Hardy's going to win per WWE usual booking.
But here's the thing. Sami is unbearably annoying, and he stole the victory.
Right.
He didn't get it he got it by any means necessary, which he would do later on in the evening tonight. But like on SmackDown, he went all out to get the win. He stole it. So it made perfect sense for him to steal the victory tonight. And personally, I had picked him to win because I want to see Jeff move on. I want to see AJ move on. I think it's time to just make Sami that crown workhorse intercontinental champion that everyone talks about.
So there were... Oh, go for it.
Yeah, like, I mean, part of me just, I don't know, I don't trust WWE to not punish a guy for being off TV because a pandemic happened. So that's
exactly
that was my only concern with him being around, but I'm glad that didn't factor in.
Well, rumor is actually and this was on Talking Smack, so I'm not talking out of school. His wife may have had a baby.
Oh, I didn't even know he was married.
Yeah, no, right.
He's married. That I knew because he showed up on Renee Young's podcast.
Yeah.
And so he did that, and his wife was on there as well. It was just kind of a camp experience. But anyway, yeah, I didn't know that she was expecting because they're very private.
Exactly.
AJ Styles cut a promo on Talking Smack, and he brought out Joseph Park. By the way, watch it because it's hilarious. It's perfect. And he said, I don't know if people know or I don't know whatever. And he said, I hear Sami's a new father. And you don't say that without that being real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he's not going to get punished because he was at home on paternity leave when Daniel Bryan's doing the same thing, pandemic or not.
Yeah, they've been fine with that in the past, so that makes sense.
Yeah, because Daniel Bryan said right before Brie had the baby, he's like, oh yeah, WWE already told me I could take as much time off up to 6 weeks before she goes into labor.
Yeah,
So,
they seem pretty flexible with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they pick and choose.
I heard something recently that they've been telling talent, if you want or need time off, you just got to give us at least 3 weeks notice so we can, write you in or out of whatever you need to be in. Which is something they haven't done in the past.
Yeah. Okay.
They've always had that line though. It's of you can take time off anytime you want, you can leave whenever you want. But the problem is, in the wrestling business, everything is a work and everything is going to come back and bite you in the ass. So for the wrestler to want to take time off, in the back of their head, they're thinking, I'm going to lose my spot. I'm not going to be able to get back where I started, or they're going to punish me because I took time off and I don't work hard enough.
Exactly. But going on to this match again, it's a ladder match, so there was many ladders set up around ringside area and whatnot. Jeff Hardy had the early advantage after hitting a bulldog clothesline combo on both Styles and Zayn. He tried bringing in a ladder, but Styles drop-kicked the ladder into him. Zayn then hit a moonsault off the ropes onto Styles. Zayn was then beating down both Hardy and Styles with a ladder. He attempted to set up a ladder in the middle of the ring, but Hardy cut him off. Hardy then backdropped Zayn onto a ladder, leaning against the ropes. The ladder ended up standing upside down, so Hardy jumped off the second turnbuckle, but Styles moved, and Hardy crashed through the ladder. It looked like a painful spot.
Yep.
There was a couple Jeff Hardy spots that looked a little painful tonight.
Yeah.
At one point, Styles tossed Zayn into a ladder in the corner. Zayn bounced off. Styles then brought in a second ladder and set it up. He started to climb up, but Zayn pulled him down. Styles fought back and rocked Zayn with a Pele kick. At this point, Hardy was recovering, and he yanked Styles down. Zayn jumped back in the ring and tossed out Hardy. He tried climbing up the ladder, but Styles prevented him. Zayn then fought back and gave Styles an exploder suplex onto the ladder in the corner. Styles climbed up the ladder, but Hardy stopped him. All three competitors ended up brawling around ringside at this point. At one point, Hardy then jumped off the steps and hit Styles against the barricade. Zayn recovered and hit the haluva kick on Jeff. He then jumped back in the ring and started climbing up, and suddenly, Styles threw a small ladder at Sami Zayn.
One of my favorite spots.
The tiny ladder.
Right.
And we were playing No Mercy 64 last night on his live stream, and that's the funniest thing you can do is just throw a weapon at somebody. I'm so glad I saw that.
Zayn fell hard to the mat and grabbed his hand. Corey Graves was like, "Oh, hopefully, we hope we won't break a finger deflecting that ladder with his hand." So Hardy and Styles both climbed up the ladder. At this point, they traded hard shots on top of the ladder. The ladder then tipped over. Hardy and Styles crashed down hard, and the ladder kind of landed on Sami in the corner, but he was, I guess, far enough back into the corner where he just barely got missed.
Yeah.
Then, in an awesome spot, Sami Zayn climbed up the ladder, but Hardy grabbed his leg. Styles attempted the phenomenal forearm, and Hardy hit Styles with the ladder mid-move. Zayn then tried to climb again, but Hardy pulled him down and hit a twist of fate. Then in a scary-looking spot, Hardy ended upside down on a ladder after Zayn tipped it over. I don't know exactly what they were trying to do here, but Hardy ended up falling to the floor, still trapped in the ladder. which wasn't the first time he was, which wasn't the only time he was trapped with a ladder.
No, I think that was intentional. Like that was a planned one. It looked kind of like messy, but it was like a cool thing, especially the upside down part.
Right.
Like I feel like after you flip it outside of the ring, you're at the mercy of whatever gravity will give you. But I thought it was cool.
Moving forward, go for it.
I wonder if he was hoping that the ladder was going to land across the ring and where the post, not the post, the
barricade,
the guardrail.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe he would just kind of land
maybe.
on that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Jeff Hardy, like, oh, that can totally work. I swear it'll work. And then,
if anyone's going to try it, he will.
Exactly.
Where were we? So at one point, Styles placed Zayn on a ladder bridge. Hardy recovered and nailed Styles with a ladder. And then another crazy spot, Jeff Hardy climbed what I believe is like a 20-foot ladder and did a swanton bomb off the ladder onto Sami Zayn through the ladder bridge. And that ladder broke a little too easy, I think. Because they literally it was no, this is going to kind of break the fall. They just went almost through the ladder.
It was made for bisected. That's for sure.
Yeah, we talked about that on our live stream tonight. It's one of my pet peeves is when you can see certain brown particles of a steel ladder after it's been broken.
So Styles recovered here, started to climb the ladder, but Hardy pushed the ladder over. They piped in some fake "This is awesome" chants, and I go, why are you going to do "This is awesome" chants when we know they're not real chants? It's cool when a real live crowd chants "This is awesome," but when you're piping them in yourselves, it's kind of just a little much.
Yeah, they treat... What was that, Joel?
I said it's not the first time they'll do it that tonight either.
No, they did in the main event.
Like, as soon as they put those faces on TV, like that, they clearly took that as license to just do whatever with the crowd noise.
So I haven't gotten into quote unquote the Thunderdome. I've tried, but it like kicks me out every time I try to do it. I don't know why. But apparently, there's like a director telling you how they want you to cheer.
They started doing that. It's the audio cuts over. I literally got in while we were live streaming tonight, and that maybe that's what destroyed everything. I don't know. But it's just like the broadcast that everyone else has, but like a solid like minute ahead.
Right.
And you hear all the same audio, but then you'll hear a producer cut in what sounds like just like a laptop audio being like, how do we feel about Randy Orton? And then everyone does like that stuff.
Wow.
Which is quite a bit different. I was there for night one, and
Same.
there was no producer, and it's vital. Like, you need that guy coming in to tell the audience to do something. Because otherwise, like, they talk about the crowd noise, but you don't hear other people. So you're sitting in your home, like, you need somebody else to try to engage you, or else it feels really sterile and unpleasant. So...
And you don't want to hear everybody's different, noise from their home, because what if all of a sudden someone's dog just starts barking in the background?
It would be horrendous. I couldn't imagine what 1,000 people just like background audio coming through all at the same time would sound like. So like, it's a happy medium. I get why they do it. I think it's really important.
Right.
But like, nobody is going, "This is awesome," like in unison somehow.
Well, I can maybe see a crowd chanting it for that swanton off the ladder.
I could see a few people, like if they were to like, if you heard like interspersed,
right?
This is awesome. Right. This is awesome. Like if they just kind of did that, but in unison is a bit hokey.
Right.
So I'll agree that it's a little kind of off-putting to hear the crowd chants come back in, but at the same time, Thunderdome is the closest thing you can get to a live crowd without there being a live crowd, right? And the whole idea here is that WWE is going to try and create the closest authentic atmosphere that they can. And if they can take our minds away from the fact that it's all virtual and it's all piped in, it's not so bad. Yeah. But I agree, when you pipe in like "This is awesome" chants, that's where you start to notice, and that's where it kind of becomes a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I had no issue when it was just like general crowd kind of walla. That was fine with me because like I miss it, man, like so bad.
Oh yeah.
I was watching Bad Blood 2003 the other day, and like seeing a full crowd is like, there's a difference. So I don't mind the walla, but yeah, when it just takes you back out of it when you hear unison chanting that isn't really possible without a legitimate audience.
So going forward, Zayn regained control and beat down Styles and Hardy. Zayn then went back to his jacket and pulled out 2 pairs of handcuffs. And then in a spot where, I mean, we've kind of seen this before. Corey Graves tried to downplay it. So Sami Zayn goes over to Jeff Hardy, who's laying on like the edge of the ramp. And he grabs one end of the handcuffs and puts it in the piercing loop, whatever you call it, of Jeff Hardy's ear. And he basically just attaches the other end to the ladder. And Corey Graves says something like, "Oh, we've never seen anything this gruesome." And my first thought was, Randy Orton stuck a screwdriver in there and twisted it, which is 100 times worse.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable.
The Randy Orton one, I couldn't. No, thank you.
I don't know, man. I got stretched ear holes. I shoved pencils in there. It's not that you don't feel anything. It's all healed over.
Good. I got a set of handcuffs, and we'll have some fun later.
Yeah. Looking forward to it, man.
That came out wrong.
Yeah, it did.
So Sammy jumps back in the ring and starts fighting with Styles before Styles realizes, whoa, I'm handcuffed to Sammy. What just happened here? And the announcers are kind of like, I get why Sami Zayn is doing this to prevent Styles from climbing the ladder. But at the same time, he's preventing himself from maybe climbing the ladder. Because if he tries to climb, AJ can just pull him right back down.
See, they didn't remember the key. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's where we're getting to, because AJ and Sammy start climbing that ladder together, and then Sami Zayn pulls the key out of his mouth. I was like, oh, what a place to.
Where else are you going to keep a key?
Well, how long has it been in his mouth is the question. And say it was in his mouth, I don't know, before he even pulled the handcuffs out of the jacket, to not swallow it throughout all the stuff that he went through in that match. Like, you have to think that maybe when he pulled the handcuffs out, he slipped the key in there as well. Because I would have swallowed that thing when I got swanton by Jeff Hardy through a ladder.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's had it in his mouth since, like, dinner time. He came to the arena with that thing in his mouth.
Oh, man. He's just showing. He's got that intestinal fortitude and the 3D chess going on the entire time. Sami Zayn, Continental Champ.
We learned that Sami Zayn's not only a great wrestler, but a smart wrestler, because what he does here is he grabs AJ's arm and pulls it through the rings, and then takes the end that was attached to him, uncuffs it, and cuffs it to one of the rungs on his side of the ladder. So basically, AJ can maybe climb up one more rung, but not high enough. Jeff Hardy then jumps in the ring, still attached to that ladder on his ear. Literally, he's carrying the ladder like this, attached to his ear, trying to fight Sami Zayn down. But it just wasn't enough. Sami Zayn was able to get to the top of the ladder, grab both belts, and become what they're calling undisputed Intercontinental Champion.
Of course.
Shades of WrestleMania 10.
Yeah? So after the match, Kayla Braxton comes up to Sami Zayn as he's at the top of the ramp. She asks him his thoughts on becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, and he cuts her off immediately and says, No. Still rightful Intercontinental Champion.
No doubt. No question.
So going forward, we got R-Truth. I guess there's a special room just for the referees, and Truth walks in with little Jimmy. They notice him, and he pretends like, oh, little Jimmy was supposed to block me. You weren't supposed to see me. So he goes to leave, and for some reason, Drake Wuertz follows him like, Truth, are you okay? What's going on? Like, he's concerned about Truth, who's dressed up as some sort of, what is he, a lumberjack or something? Or what was he supposed to be?
He's an old Yukon.
Oh, that's right. A gold panner or whatever from the Gold Rush. Prospector. That's
prospector.
That's it. I should know because I grew up. You know the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah.
Well, they're called 49ers because of, gold and all that. I grew up where they got the name from. I should know this.
Well, it's the Gold Rush.
Right.
We were playing around with some of those terms as our opening, and it did not quite work out.
So R-Truth backs out of the, I guess you could say, referee's room, and all of a sudden you see Drew Gulak behind him just randomly doing lunges. Gulak notices Truth there, so he runs up, rolls him up. Drake counts 1, 2, 3. New 24/7 champion. So then we go back to ringside. Time for the Raw crew. We got Samoa Joe back, which is good to see. He's there with Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton. I don't know why he was gone, but hey, it's good to see him back.
I have some ideas.
I mean, we can speculate, but
yeah,
I don't want to get into all that because that could be personal, could not. And I forgot to mention, on the pre-show, they did state that Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Nikki Cross are all off of tonight's show because they are not medically cleared to compete. Now here's
Elevated enzymes.
But here's the interesting thing. Nia Jax goes out there and puts out a tweet that says, "My tag partner is expecting ... pregnant woman emoji." Like, what the hell?
She trolled everybody.
Yeah.
She was also saying that the whole like not medically cleared. She said fake.
Right? And so I know Liv Morgan sent out a workout tweet going, "Oh, they got one night extra before we take them titles from them." So they said that match will be addressed tomorrow on Raw, and then as we see, later, Bayley addresses the whole Nikki Cross stuff. But speaking of the women, we got the Raw Women's Championship match with Asuka and Zelina Vega, and I'm gonna say this match was better than I expected. I don't know what you guys thought of it, but
yeah, I mean, I expected it to be absolutely abysmal, so I was. Well, I was not unentertained.
I mean, we were probably all thinking little of it because they stuck it originally on the kickoff show.
Now, my feeling was it was always going to be a solid match. We know that Zelina Vega has had wrestling training, but she hasn't been much of a wrestler in WWE or even in NXT beyond a couple of mixed tag matches. So for her to come in and execute, it's great. That's what she needed to do, especially if she's become a part of the women's division on Raw. But yeah, everything was pretty much as expected for those who had low expectations. But I can see her having a little bit of help down the line if she's going to continue seeing success on Raw as a women's division competitor.
So early on, Asuka, of course, had the control. She mocked Zelina Vega before taking her down. Vega fought back and worked over the arm. Asuka quickly regained control with a side headlock. Vega fought out and attempted an arm drag. Asuka blocked and attempted an arm bar. But Vega actually made it to the ropes to break the hold. Vega tried to attack Asuka's arm yet again, but she was sent onto the apron. Asuka then tried to follow this up with a hip attack, and she actually hit it this time, sending Vega to the floor. Vega sent Asuka's shoulder first into the steps to take over control. Vega slowed down the pace as she went for the arm yet again. Asuka went for the Asuka lock, and Vega rolled through into an arm bar, which is actually a really cool looking spot. I thought the spot where she goes from the Asuka lock to the arm bar was very just fluid.
Yeah. They definitely would have worked on that together
well. Yeah. So Asuka escaped out of that, put on the Asuka lock again, and Vega rolled through it. Vega then hit a Hurricane Rana and double knees in the corner for a near fall. She followed this up with the backstabber and a kick to the face and got another near fall off of it. Then in a cool little series of moves, Asuka attempted an Asuka lock. Vega rolled through for a close near fall. Asuka then kicked out and reapplied the Asuka lock, picking up the victory. A lot of cool transitions in this spot right here as Asuka does pick up the victory.
Yeah, we picked up on that as it was happening. We're talking about how
right,
cool and just really fluid it was. It was cool.
So after the match, Charlie Caruso interviews Asuka while Zelina stays in the ring. She says, "What do you think of Zelina Vega as the challenger tonight?" And Asuka says, "Well, she's a firecracker." I was like, okay, so you're trying to put over Zelina Vega even though she lost. So Vega tees shaking Asuka's hand. They then bow. And as Asuka bows, Vega kicks her in the gut. Asuka then snapped, yelled at her in Japanese. And it looks like, well, this feud ain't over.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close.
Nope.
And I think on Raw, we're going to see some very interesting fireworks. I think Zelina might have a friend to come and help her out. That's what I think will happen.
Any predictions on who this friend may be?
Maybe a former women's champion, maybe a former manager herself,
right?
Maybe a Latina superstar who was recently part of the NWA and recently left the NWA.
I think we're on the same wavelength here.
I think so too.
So I don't know if this match, so the next pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell in like 5 weeks. So I don't know if they drag this Zelina Asuka thing out for 5 weeks or do it in like a week or two on Raw. I don't know.
I think you can spread the story out over 5 weeks, but it won't be just Zelina. It would have to be with the second.
Exactly.
Person.
Yeah. Definitely.
So next up in a rematch from Payback, we had Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews. United States title on the line. This time Lashley was the champion. Crews was the challenger. Honestly, I thought the match was just all right. Nothing special.
More of the same, I would say.
Exactly.
Like the same consistent pace.
This is the 13th time that Apollo has faced someone in the Hurt Business.
Yep. And then I did hear, and all I'm going to say is for precautionary reasons, Cedric Alexander was kept off of the show.
Notice that as well.
And, I mean, I'll just say it. It could have to do with his wife and where she works, so that's what I was told.
That is a very good point.
So Lashley had the early advantage until Cruz sent him to the floor. Cruz followed up with a moonsault off the apron. He then hit a high cross body on Lashley and got a near fall off of it. Lashley recovered and hit a flatliner for a near fall. Cruz tried fighting back, but Lashley backed him into the corner. MVP mocked Cruz as Lashley continued beating him down. Cruz fought back and sent Lashley into the ring post. Cruz then rocked Lashley with an enziguri, a press slam, a standing moonsault, but, well, only got a 2 count off of it. Lashley then recovered and hit him with a superplex for a close near fall. Lashley then attempted a dominator, but Cruz slipped out and applied a standing shooting star press. Didn't get much off of it. He then followed this up with a frog splash for a near fall. Lashley then recovered, slammed Cruz down to the mat, applied the hurt lock, and picked up the victory. Again, like you said, more of the same.
More of the same, and also I have a problem with having Apollo go up and do the frog splash, because there is only one person right now in WWE who should be using that who should be using that move, and he's in the match that's directly after this one.
True.
So we're going to get to that in a second.
And he uses it, and I get where you're coming from, because I don't like it when a guy uses a specific move for his finisher, and then somebody else uses it as just a move.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the issue I've always had with the super kick. When you have like Dolph Ziggler in a big match, and super kick is what he usually uses to try and end the match, and then you got like the Usos doing 50 super kicks in the match before or something.
Yep. It's about protecting the moves and having the agents talk to each other so that there aren't instances where people are using the same moves in different places.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you watch the indies around here, and it's like super kicks every 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even. So, like, the fact that people still nowadays use it, like, as a finisher is weird to me. Like,
I've said it. The super kick's the new DDT.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody. Jake the Snake had it as a finisher, and then everyone just adopted it, and it was just a move.
Mm-hmm. And now we're all doing Canadian Destroyers.
Yeah, that's almost just a move now. Yeah, true.
Which is wild, because that one at least has, like, a lot of flair.
Yeah.
Like it has a lot of show. So, like, the people who can do it as well as they can should be the ones who get it as their finishers, but whatever.
So going forward, we had a match that actually had to end earlier than expected. It was the Raw Tag Team title match, the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade. And it looks like Angel Garza was injured in this match. The Street Profits had the early advantage. Heels took over after Ford missed a standing drop kick. They isolated Ford on their side of the ring and cut him off from Dawkins. Andrade placed Ford on the apron, and Garza rocked him with a running knee for a near fall. Garza followed this up by slowing down the pace with a side headlock. Ford fought out of it with a back suplex. Dawkins got the hot tag and ran wild on the heels. He hit a spinning splash into the corner, but Andrade hit a drop kick to regain control. He then missed the double knees in the corner, though. Garza then hit a massive Spanish fly on Ford for a very close near fall. Ford attempted the tag, but Andrade pulled Dawkins off the apron. Andrade regained control and hit double knees on Ford for a close near fall. Dawkins got the hot tag again, and it seemed like this is where everything went down. I don't know exactly where Garza got hurt, but Garza just at one point all of a sudden was on one leg, and the way he was limping around and grabbing the leg, to me, looked like a quad issue.
So it looked like it was first the Spanish fly knocked things out a little bit, and then there was after that a move where Garza it was a leg move. It was Tez had the leg and then scooped it down, and whatever it was, he just landed awkwardly and kind of fumbled forward, and that may have been what caused it.
Because we've seen in the past with like Triple H and Kevin Nash, you can tear your quad even with Vince McMahon doing nothing, just walking. I mean, Kevin Nash tore his quad walking back to his side of the ring in a 6-man tag or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so hopefully it's not a torn quad, because that's like 9-10 months out, if so. Which is the way that he kept grabbing at the quad when he was hopping over back to his corner does lead me to believe that it could have been a quad issue.
Yeah, and it sucks because they've been losing a lot of talent for longer term injuries.
So Dawkins hit a powerbomb on Andrade here and just picked up the victory. I was told that once they realized, hey, Garza's hurt. Referee threw up that X, and the referee was told, go straight to the finish. Just tell him to get a finish the match. And that's another reason why I think quad, because when it's a quad issue, you want that person just to stop. You don't want to keep going on it. So hopefully we get more information on Garza, and it's maybe not as bad as we assume.
That's the hope. I
know medical staff, Andrade and medical staff were checking on him after the match. Next up, we got the announcement of the 2-night draft coming up on October 9th on SmackDown, and then concluding the next Monday on Raw, October 12th. I'm going to ask you guys right here, if you were in control of SmackDown, who would your first pick be? Joel, go for it.
Let's take Randy Orton.
Tim, you're in control of Raw. Who you got?
Man, I don't even know. Split up the Street Profits. Screw up everything.
There you go. Now, here's the one thing we don't know. Is this just like everybody's a free agent for those 2 nights? You could pick anybody? Or is it like certain people, or like, what did they do back in the day when I think it was Eric Bischoff and Heyman were GMs, and they did the draft lottery where it's just like you pick names and anybody can be switched. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules for this draft is going to be, whether you can pick any, because that'd be weird if like you're in charge of SmackDown and then you take the WWE champion, but then whoever's in charge of Raw never takes the Universal champion or something. Then you got both champs on one show.
I feel like they've done both in the past, right? Like
they have. So
both rules be fine.
So in 2006, John Cena was drafted to 2005 maybe. Batista and Hardy were Batista. I keep saying Hardy for some reason. Batista and Cena were the champions. Cena got drafted as the first pick over to Raw, and then Teddy Long did a whole tournament to crown a new champion for SmackDown. And then JBL wins, and he goes, "You're not the champion because we just got Batista, the world champion." JBL's like, "What the hell? I fought all these guys, and I'm not even the champion."
Yeah.
So maybe they do something like that again. I don't know. Going forward, Caleb Braxton interviewed the 24/7 champion for the time, Drew Gulak. He dedicated his win to Akira Tozawa, who was eaten by a shark last Monday. Suddenly, R-Truth showed up and just pinned him. What is he, like a 99-time champion now?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
It's a number.
WWE history.
I'm waiting for that joke where he goes, "I've won more times than John Cena and Ric Flair."
Combined at this point. Combined.
And Triple H.
and all of
right?
them. Just...
He's going to go nuts. And Raven, who is the hardcore champion of all hardcore champions.
So next up, as we stated, Nikki Cross was medically unable to be here tonight, so Bayley still came out to cut a promo. Bayley stated that she's here, ready to fight, wants to go, good to go. And so, well, she's going to offer, what did she go? Just an open challenge for anybody to come out and challenge her for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But she didn't expect the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, to come out and make that accept that challenge. So we get Asuka here again for the second time tonight. And I get why they had to do the finish they did. So there's not much to talk about really in the match other than at the end they were fighting on the outside. Bayley said, "Screw this, I don't want to go anymore." And she hits Asuka with the chair, causes the DQ. I get why they do that kind of finish because you don't want Bayley to lose right now and you don't want Asuka to lose because those are your champions. But if that's the case, why didn't they have somebody like a Dana Brooke come out or something and just be like, "I'm going to step up to you, Bayley. I'm going to fight you for the title," and Bayley just kill her and squash her?
Why not bring Lacey Evans out?
True.
Why not bring out Tamina, who literally just shows up whenever she wants?
I mean, they've got a number of women they could have used, but it's just like putting Asuka in there. They were in a no-win situation, kind of.
I think, yeah, I think WWE just likes to play it extremely safe on some things, and even if they're to throw out someone who was a little more green or less TV seasoned at least, they don't want to risk, even in a squash, having them do something kind of silly.
And we'll go for it.
No, I think it's just that's all it is. They trust Asuka, and they only trust a handful of people at any given time. So
right.
They just wanted to get it out and get it done and fill time.
But I do know that this was a hour or two before the show kind of call, because I was told that even as the ladder match was going on, the script for the rest of the show was not finalized. And they advertised Bayley versus Nikki Cross about, let me do the math here, 4 or 5 hours before the kickoff show started. Not even. No. Maybe 3.5 hours before the kickoff show started. They still advertised on social media. It literally said, Bayley will defend the title against Nikki Cross, and then in all caps, tonight.
Yep.
And that was after the rumor came out that Nikki was off the show. So then they sent out this tweet that in all caps said, tonight at Clash of Champions.
That's really strange, especially since Nikki was not on SmackDown this past week.
Exactly. That's where I was kind of like, are they trying to do something we don't know?
I think also I would go back and look at the tweet, and if it was done by their third-party people, then
I could pull it up. Let's see. I don't know how easy it's going to be to pull it up because they sent out about 50,000 tweets today.
Yeah.
But while you're doing that, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a lot more planning ahead for what was supposed to happen tonight, because we were talking about in the live stream and we talked about it in our prediction show. Bayley and Sasha have their program in place, and then you've got Nikki and Alexa trying to get their program in place. There could have been literally 2 stories and 4 women involved in this match to at least move 2 separate important stories forward. And they couldn't do that. So I think they had to they had to move one story forward, so they had to bring out Sasha. Personally, I didn't want to see Sasha again until the challenge is made.
I mean, this sucks for Nikki, like real bad. Like She had another opportunity to do something really special, put on a good pay-per-view show, and just ripped away.
So
it's also been summer with those 2.
So I found the tweet. It was sent out by the, I guess, Sprinkler Publishing. So I don't know if that's just like WWE gives them stuff and says, hey, throughout a certain day, send these tweets out. But it does say the SmackDown Women's title is on the line tonight at Clash of Champions as Nikki Cross gets one more chance to vanquish Bayley. So, and that was, I don't know, 3.5 or so hours before the kickoff show started, where they announced, hey, Nikki Cross ain't going to be on this show. And it was literally right after all the news broke that, you know, her and that match and the women's tag title match were going to be changed. So,
well, this is the same problem that they had with Karrion Kross when they spoiled the NXT Championship.
Oh, and with the
T-shirt and
he had the belt, yeah.
And that was the same thing. It was Sprinkler. And then even before that, this was just funny and coincidental, when Braun Strowman at the beginning of the pandemic called out indie talent for not working hard enough and doing the bootstraps. Like 5 minutes later, Sprinkler had the Strowman Express shirt on WWE Shop, promoted item, and a bunch of people just went to town and were like, not cool. And so they pulled it. That's just timing. But I think that's what happened here. It was the same thing. It was scheduled tweets.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody told anyone what to do differently.
And I've been told by somebody that works in like the offices of WWE works in the offices on the website part of things, that they'll be told a day or even the morning of a certain thing, hey, this is what we need up on the website. But then when you're in Orlando and Vince is changing everything, he's not relaying any of that back to the office. And then they don't know, hey, don't put that up, or this needs to be reworded, or this needs to be changed because it's not happening anymore.
Yep.
So that is something that one side doesn't know what the other side's doing a lot of times, because so much stuff gets changed on the fly.
Yeah, it's the same thing with talent before Raw. Nobody knows what's going on when the script's being rewritten 3 hours ago. So what are you going to do? And then who do you bring in? Who do you get tested? Now we bring in the COVID conversation, but again, this is just the problems with having a 75-year-old billionaire who wants 2 people at the helm with him, and that's it.
So after
is he actually a billionaire, like $1 billion?
I know his net worth was dropped at the end of last year.
Because, you keep calling him a billionaire, and it weirds me out to think that a wrestling...
Vince is still worth $1.6 billion.
Good God. Okay. Sorry.
I mean, Stephanie just sold $2 million worth of stock last week.
But, I mean, $2 million is a pittance compared to billions.
Hey, I'm just saying, her and Triple H have been selling a lot of stock over the last 12 months.
Because
Vince is going to die. Vince is going to die at some point, and they get all that money anyway.
Well, here's the thing. Here's
Vince
my
is
thing.
never gonna die.
Pull that money off the stock now, because when Vince passes away, God rest his soul or whatever, that stock is going to fall because no one's going to have faith that anybody else can run that company. So the stock's going to go down, even if it's just temporarily.
Also,
I mean, that's Vince's doing.
Vince Vince's class of stock is worth close to 80% ownership in the
Right.
company. So yes, you're absolutely right. And I'm going to give, if I may, I'm going to give a quick shout out to WrestleNomics. If you listen to them this past week, they did a whole, Brandon Thurston, who runs WrestleNomics now, he did a whole breakdown of what this whole stock trade meant for Stephanie and how the ownership structure looks in WWE. And we went through it on our show as well, Class A stock versus Class B stock. And it plays into something, but it's not as devious as a lot of people think it is when you offload Class A stock. That's just money.
True.
Yeah, like what we were saying is that both Triple H and Stephanie sold their stock, and it's probably just for some large purchase, like they want another bloody summer home or something like that. Like,
H's parents' house, maybe. Who knows?
yeah,
Right.
like this stuff happens all the time with people in executive roles in like.
Yeah, Kevin Dunn sells stock all the time too.
Yeah. You have the right money man behind you, then you get money out.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So as they call for the disqualification, Sasha Banks appears and attacks Bayley from behind. Banks is still wearing the soft neck brace. As Corey Graves made sure to let us know it's the soft neck brace that she was wearing. He had to say that and emphasize soft. And then her and Bayley brawl inside the ring. Well, around ringside and then inside the ring. Bayley brings in a kendo stick and a chair. Banks fought back and beat Bayley down with a kendo stick. Bayley then ran off as Sasha Banks sat in the ring and watched Bayley leave. I think these two fight inside Hell in a Cell.
Absolutely.
Oh
they do.
yeah.
See, I wanted them to stretch this out till WrestleMania, keep Bayley or Sasha off TV for a couple of months, but it ain't gonna happen now.
They have been your cash cow and your ratings cow for the entire summer, really.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
two notes from this match that just highlight perfection. Like, I don't need to see Sasha catch another beatdown. That's one.
True.
And two, see you in the cell. And we've been saying that for the last 3 weeks on our show. But the thing is, Hell in a Cell is no longer the blow-off match. And in their case, it's going to be the first match. And they will stretch it out to Mania because the odds are it's going to be Sasha getting the crap kicked out of her in the cell by Bayley, who has this glorified mean streak. And then you have Sasha out until whenever. They'll do a second match, maybe TLC, and then she'll be out until Mania.
Mhm.
And then you tell them again, and you crown Sasha as champion when potentially fans are in the crowd.
See, my prediction was after that first beatdown, Sasha's just gone off of TV till the draft and gets drafted to Raw, so her and Bayley are separated. She then wins. This is all my foreshadowing. She then wins the Rumble and says, "Oh, I'm going to challenge Bayley," and that's how she gets her WrestleMania match, winning the Rumble. They keep them separate all the way till, but she came back in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Didn't even sell the beatdown barely.
Soft neck collar.
Wasn't shocked, but I was much happier to see her do a promo from the PC than in the Thunderdome. When they said Sasha Banks will address Bayley and they didn't say in the Thunderdome, I was like, okay, they're gonna do this off-site. It's not gonna be in the arena. It's gonna be somewhere else, and that was fun.
But she did it, and all the producers were there at the PC and not the Thunderdome because they all came to her aid when Bayley attacked.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
It's not ideal, and like you said, it's going to be in the cell. It's going to start there, but I think it will end at Mania.
Hopefully.
I don't know about separating them at the draft. I think the stories that need to be told between them, they can be separated on the same brand, but still have undercurrents of meetups in between them.
Right, because my whole thing was, I thought, you keep them separated as much as you can until that WrestleMania match, or at least until Sasha wins the Rumble, because then it's going to give the fans time to forget about all of that. And then when Sasha goes, I won the Rumble, I'm challenging Bayley, everyone's going to be like, holy crap, yes, this is what we wanted. Because you almost try to get them to forget about it.
Then you got to tell the story between the Rumble and Mania, which is, a 3-month time
Which
of how
I think would be fine. Right, and I think that would have been fine given the history and everything. So going forward, we have our co-main event. It was the ambulance match between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship on the line. We saw 3 cameos in this match. No, 4 if you count Ric Flair at the end driving the ambulance.
Oh, I do. I definitely do.
So the match started off with some hard shots and Drew McIntyre ribbing Randy Orton here because we know Randy Orton does not like taking chops. And McIntyre has stated before that he likes chopping Randy Orton for the fact that he doesn't like it. So he was laying in those chops. And at one point, I think I heard Randy go, fuck. Because his chest was beat red about 60 seconds into this match. So he starts off with the hard shots. McIntyre had the early advantage. Orton then attempted an RKO, but McIntyre avoided it. They ended up on the apron. Orton kicked the middle ropes as McIntyre tried to get out of the ring, or get back in the ring, I mean. Orton then set up for the punt, and he was suddenly grabbed by a hand. But they made sure not to show us this hand for a bit. They just showed the arm, but we didn't know who it was. And then finally, we get like a weird camera cut, and you see from behind the Big Show pull this mask down and reveal that it's him. Why did they have to wait so long to show us that it was Big Show? It's like, see this hand? We're going to stall with the hand.
They wanted to make the biggest impact, like with Humpty Dumpty. Like, he was just a giant Eggman.
Right.
That everyone, you had to slowly reveal that.
Stop shaving your beard, Paul.
As a fellow bald guy, don't.
He doesn't have the Big Show anymore, so he can change his look up.
Not for the best.
How does that Legends contract play out? Are they allowed to change their looks for that?
I mean, I assume. I mean, this ain't the first time we've seen him with the Eggman look.
Yeah,
no,
it's true.
Oh,
It always looks weird.
very much so.
So Big Show pulls Randy Orton out of the ring. He then choke slams him through a table, the announce table actually, and then he just kind of just leaves. He's gone. Like, we don't see him again. Nothing. Sayonara. McIntyre was firmly in control here as he dropped Orton on the barricade. McIntyre continued beating down Orton as he carried him towards the ambulance. He set Orton face first into the ambulance door. McIntyre pulled some crutches and chairs out of the ambulance as Samoa Joe said, "Whoa, what kind of ambulance is this?" I thought Xavier Woods had the best tweet during this match because they got the chair. It's a red chair with like a cross on it to show health. So he goes, "Does this chair give whoever's using the chair 2 points extra health or something?"
I called it the Baywatch chair.
Oh, that's a good one. So
it's a big toy.
They're fighting here with all the weapons. At one point, McIntyre hits Randy Orton with the chair, drops the chair. Then he kind of goes back over to the chair, looks at the chair, slowly grabs it. Like, why you? He's stalling for time, of course. Slowly grabs the chair like, I'm going to use it. Am I going to use it? Maybe I'll use it. Yep, I'm going to grab it. It's like he's pandering to a crowd that really wasn't there. Trying to get a reaction. Which, I get it, but he then takes the chair, but Orton rams him with a crutch. Orton then takes the chair and pushes it into what they're still calling the broken jaw of Drew McIntyre. And my first thought was, if the jaw is still technically broken, how is he cleared to compete? Did he sign some sort of like a hold harmless agreement that whatever happens he can't put on WWE?
I thought jaw for a jaw match.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, wasn't Randy's jaw also screwed up after all the claymores? But I guess not. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. When they first told us, they said it was like a cranium issue for Drew McIntyre, and then all of a sudden next week they go, no, it's his jaw.
Yeah, they walked that one back real quick.
Yeah.
Which is
because Kayla Braxton goes, preliminary hearings is that Drew McIntyre may have bleeding on the brain. And I go, what? She goes, more information after we hear more from the doctor.
That was aces, because then the next day they're like, as bad as we said, he's not on the brink of death. He has an injury that'll bring him back in 4 weeks, and that's when Clash of Champions is, so we'll be okay.
Right.
I feel like WWE probably has a pretty decent level of access to actual doctors. They could just, have their writing staff reach out for a quick cue, just a quick one, just to see what's not super visible, but might be kind of painful to do this level of combat with.
Right. Now, Joel made fun of the eye for an eye match, said jaw for a jaw, but the first thing I thought about, have you heard what the main event of Talkin' Shop Mania 2 is going to be?
No.
They are doing ball for a balls match Gallows said somebody is losing their balls. When you said jaw for a jaw, that's the first thing I thought about.
Oh, that's hype.
I was going to talk about it on our show that Talking Shop Mania 2 is happening.
Yes.
Because all I know is have they gotten a contract to Clint Botsky yet? 'Cause that's who they're hoping for.
I mean, Gallows and Anderson are killing it right now. They got that coming. They got a cartoon coming. I think they got some special on Access TV.
Yeah.
So they're really killing it right
money.
now.
They're making the money they deserve.
Yeah.
So back into this match, Orton, like I said, had the chair braced up against the broken jaw of McIntyre. Both McIntyre and Orton ended up in the back of the ambulance at this point. They fought out of the ambulance, and Orton took over, slammed McIntyre into the side of the ambulance. Orton then goes over to the cab of the ambulance, and at first I'm thinking, why is he slowly opening this door the way he is? But then we know he doesn't want to make sure that this door doesn't break off if he opens it too hard, because it's barely hanging on there.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there up against the door. McIntyre comes flying in. Orton jumps inside the cab of the ambulance. McIntyre kicks the door right off the hinges, and apparently, as they said, jammed up his knee.
Hurts to kick a door.
Right.
You ever kick a door?
I punched the door, but not kicked the door.
What the hell are you guys doing on your off time?
Fun stuff. Live a little, man.
I'll just say I grew up in the mountains and the woods of California, and we needed to find our own entertainment half the time.
Yeah, I hear that. New Brunswick, Canada.
Ottawa, Canada.
No, you're city boy. Shut up.
Go on, shall we?
So Orton was briefly in control here until McIntyre slammed him into the front of the ambulance. They then started fighting in the backstage area. Orton threw McIntyre into a wall to take over, and then suddenly we see Christian, Captain Charisma, show up. He threw Orton into what looked like catering, and then, like Big Show, did his one little thing and disappeared. Gone. McIntyre then took over control with some hard chops to Randy Orton. They fought back towards the ambulance. They ended back up on the ambulance. Orton poked McIntyre in the eye and slammed him on the windshield that cut his back all up. Whew. Not just a little bit. He was all kinds of cut up.
No, there's a significant amount of blood
Yeah.
on WWE for the last long while.
So the two then make their way to the roof of the ambulance as they start fighting up there. McIntyre then tried to climb down and then started dangling off the back of the ambulance. So Orton stomped on his feet until McIntyre fell to the floor. As Orton got his bearings of himself up there at the top of the ambulance, he was met by Shawn Michaels, who super kicked him. Orton really kind of sold the super kick, and then just got pushed right off the top of the ambulance. Just like, whew. He could have blew on him and he would have fell off for as easily as he pushed him.
Now, did you see what happened directly after that, what the shot was? It was Shawn Michaels getting on the ladder to climb back down.
No, I didn't see that.
You see him hit the rung, like the first rung, and start climbing down, and you're like, oh, you just killed the magic.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he had a ladder set up to get up there and to get down. And I
He
was like,
couldn't
oh,
even just jump up on the hood.
No, God, you'd think these guys, jump from the stage over to the hood now.
wrestling, man. It
Right.
messes you up.
So Randy Orton's knocked off the top of the ambulance, and McIntyre once again takes over. He hits a Claymore kick on Randy Orton, throws him into the ambulance, but doesn't quite finish the match. And in a spot that could have called him a geek, it didn't, because your thought is, oh, he's going to not go for the win. Orton's going to somehow miraculously get back up and win, but that's not what happens. He pulls Randy out about quarter of the way out of the ambulance, the back of the ambulance, sets him up and punts him before pushing him back in the ambulance and picking up the victory, which was a huge shocker to me.
Talking about Randy winning the championship since before SummerSlam.
Right.
At this point, I think it's time that we kind of put that to bed for at least till the end of the year. And it's going to come down to where WWE is physically
True.
when they're holding shows. Because what story do you want to tell? Do you want to tell the story of Randy Orton sneaking his way to winning a title and getting a massive heat? Or do you want to tell the story of the first show back and Drew McIntyre is your head baby face and everyone's ecstatic to see him? What story are you going to tell when you get your fans back?
Exactly. But the big question is, now what do they do next for Drew? Because I don't see any heels on Monday Night Raw that are in a position to challenge, unless they just want to do babyface versus babyface and put Keith Lee in there.
Oh, know that dude, the Raw Hell in a Cell match is going to be a triple threat with Keith Lee and Randy Orton.
I can see it, but then again, it's going to be like, why Randy again? Randy clearly got beat. He didn't get screwed. Well, you can almost say he got screwed because of all the help that McIntyre had, but there's no rules in the ambulance match, so that's not against the rules.
But that's what he's going to say. He's going to say, you can't beat me on your own, so you and I in the cell where no one else can get in, and then Keith Lee will come in and say, hey, you guys can't beat me without getting in each other's way, so I deserve a shot.
Keith will come in and be like, I've been waiting patiently here, and Randy, you still lost regardless of what caused it. Like, let me in to this situation.
Here's my thing. I wish it wasn't, if they're doing the cell with the three of them, I wish there was somebody in there, not Drew or Randy, that would take a great pounce through the cell wall. I don't see either of them doing that, though, taking the pounce through the cell wall. But if you had someone in there like a Dolph Ziggler, he would take a great pounce through the wall.
I wonder if Randy would do it.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
I will say this. I was convinced that Randy Orton was going to win the WWE Championship tonight. Like a lot of people were. But the reason I was convinced was because he gave that promo on Monday. That was the I am winning this title promo that Randy gives when he actually wins. Like, the I give a damn about this promo. So I was shocked to see him not come out the victor tonight.
I think Drew winning is just a really big vote of confidence in him. Like, that Braun didn't quite get,
True.
And I do still see it possible that maybe they do transition to just Keith Lee and Drew, and one of them turn. And it's possible, I could see Keith Lee figuring out a way to put himself over as a heel. Like, I think that he could do it if he put the attention and the writing team was working with him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, are you saying that Keith Lee might be the leader of Retribution?
Oh, please no.
I mean, they're all coming from NXT. His good buddy, T-Bar, is on.
Hey, don't forget about Mace.
Yeah, I won't. I'll try not to.
And don't tell Booker T to forget about Mace either.
But I do want to say thank you to Throwback in the chat, in the Twitch chat, for the bits. Also, remember, guys, if you want to be part of this show towards the end, you can do so by texting your thoughts on Clash of Champions to 510-906-1341. So the match ends. McIntyre is just taking his time celebrating at the top of the ramp. And then we see the referee smack the back of the ambulance, say, hey, drive it off. Camera pans around the front of the ambulance, and it's Ric Flair driving it to the back.
This is great. I mean, Ric Flair now has a souvenir, and B, something for him to drive for his next medical episode.
Right.
I loved it. It was so funny. As soon as they started going over there, as soon as they were lingering, I was like, oh, here's where he comes in.
In complete seriousness, one thing that this actually really establishes well is that we're going into a very uncomfortable main event. And this had the perfect amount of levity running out of that promo or out of that set. So I like the flow.
No, it was like I said, the last two match. I really enjoyed the ladder match. These last two matches were what made this okay.
So speaking of that main event, it was Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against his cousin Jey Uso. And if you would have asked me a week ago what I thought going into this match, I would have been like, oh, Jey Uso was going to get killed. But coming off of SmackDown and the way that the last 5 minutes of that show went, I was all for this match, even though I knew who was going to win because it was obvious. But when Roman Reigns, when Jay cut that promo saying, I've always been asked, which Uso are you? And I'm going to change that narrative this weekend. And then when Roman set that promo where he was like, you're going to get your payday, you're going to take your ass whooping, I'm going to be the head of the table, and I'm going to provide for this whole family. But the way Roman delivered that, just screaming it, was like, no, this match, they're meaning business. This isn't just another match they're trying to do to have a whatever kind of match. So I thought, go for it.
This feud is for the big piece of chicken. And I am all for watching this family fight for the big piece of chicken. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
I was joking about how I mean, Jimmy's got to know, right? Like, all this stuff's being filmed. And the fact that they, like, did like, oh, yeah, he can play back the tape. They constantly reference, like, watching tape of these shows. So, like, him acknowledging, like, I know what's going on. Like, we're blood, but, like, things are going down, and you're gonna treat me with some respect no matter what. And then going into this match, like, that took this feud to the next level for me, and like watching it play out tonight the way it did was really, really satisfying. And we had speculated that, I think I said Jimmy earlier, but I mean Jay. Jimmy came out tonight, and that was like we had speculated it, but the way it played out was just like
oh yeah.
Very, very
I thought
satisfying.
This match, for everything it was supposed to be, was actually almost perfect to a T for what it was supposed to be.
Same.
Like, I don't think they could have done it any better.
You had NXT 2017, 2018 storytelling, and
Yes.
you had the comfortable SummerSlam main event from, was it 2014 with Cena and Brock. You had all of that meshed with this story and this match, and it was great. It was exactly what was needed.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the match starts off with the two locking up in the middle of the ring. Roman backs Uso into the corner. The referee counts him, tells him to get back, and Roman just lets him go, and the two just stare right at each other. They lock up again, and Roman threw him across the ring. Uso had the brief advantage until Roman rocked him with a hard clothesline and tried to pin him early. Charles Robinson admonished Reigns about breaking in the corner again. Heyman then yelled at the referee. Reigns told Heyman, "You better take care of this ref, or he'll have to deal with him as well." I did like how, since we don't have an actual crowd and you can hear the wrestlers in the ring, I loved the banter between these two during the match.
So good, and I have I wrote it down, a bunch of it.
Oh, nice, because I didn't write anything per se.
It added so much to, like.
So Reigns was firmly in control as he beat down Uso around ringside. He slammed him headfirst on the announce table, and at one point said, he told the ref, "I'm going to do whatever I want to do," and he slammed his head again on the announce table. Reigns then slowed the pace down with a chin lock. Uso fought back with a Samoan drop, which kind of pissed off Roman Reigns. He set up for the Rikishi splash in the corner, but Reigns countered with a Superman punch. They then fought around ringside again. Reigns continued to dominate the match here. Reigns told Uso that he should have just taken the payday, laid down, and got the match over with. Reigns kept trash talking Uso. Uso then nailed Reigns with a chop, but it didn't really affect him much. Uso fought back and sent Reigns shoulder first into the ring post. He sent Reigns to the floor and hit a suicide dive. Uso followed this up with a high-flying cross-body for a near fall. Uso then rocked Reigns with a super kick and actually got almost as close as you can to the pin without getting it. Like, Roman kicked out at the perfect time. Reigns then avoided us. Go for it.
Roman Reigns is the master of the 2.9 kick out of this.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Reigns avoided a splash and hit a Rough Rider, of all things. And I love Corey Graves going, well, Roman Reigns has adapted his moveset and learned some new things since he's been gone. Reigns then attempted a spear, but Uso rolled him up for a near fall. Uso then hit another super kick and a splash for a very close 2. As Reigns kicked out, though, he also low-blowed Jey Uso at the same time. Reigns then hit a spear, but didn't go for the pin. Reigns then demanded that Uso call him the Tribal Chief. Uso refused to do so. So Reigns hit a second spear, and again didn't go for the pin. Reigns demanded Uso acknowledge him as the Tribal Chief. Again, Jey refused. Heyman,
I'm going to pop in.
Go for it. Go for it.
I love about that second spear and that exchange with "you're going to call me the chief, call me the chief." He pulls Jay's face to the camera and tells him, "You're going to do it." And it's just, that's perfectly angled. It's so well thought out. It's, acknowledge me. Say it to me. I want you to call me the chief. It's like the perfect banter in a match like this.
It also feels very familial. Like, that's like brotherly bullying at a certain point. It's like say uncle at the whole time, but it's just like, it felt really, really good.
Then you got Paul Heyman also just kissing Roman's ass.
Yelling, "Yeah, you're the Tribal Chief."
He's like, shut up. I don't need you to say it. Like,
Roman says, he's like, "I don't want you to tell me." He wants Jay to say it. Like, Roman, Paul doesn't matter. Paul didn't even do the introduction for Roman at the top of the match, which was fantastic. I need Paul to just be there.
Exactly. And I did like also how they kept talking about how Jay's the youngest of the three. Even though they're twins, I think Corey Graves said Roman's the oldest. Jimmy is 9 minutes older, but he might as well be 9 years older with how he was treated as the kid, as the younger one. I liked that line.
Yeah, they covered that in the Jey Uso Chronicle as well.
I only watched the end of that came on right before the kickoff show.
Watch the whole thing. It was just great storytelling. It really you really wanted to see more of Jay as a competitor from that.
Nice.
So as you stated, Heyman was also yelling that Roman's the Tribal Chief. Reigns wanted Uso to acknowledge it though. Reigns snapped and viciously started just raining down shots. Robinson pulled Reigns off at one point. Reigns got in Robinson's face and told him not to mess with him. He warned Robinson that his family is this business. Reigns continued to beat down Uso with some hard, vicious shots. Uso refused to give up. Reigns resumed and just wouldn't let up at all. Finally, Jimmy Uso would run out and have a white towel saying, "Hey, I'm going to throw this towel and we're going to stop this." And Jay kept telling him, "No, don't do it." And Jimmy just kept saying, "I'm going to throw the towel in. We're going to stop this. You have to stop." And Jay just kept saying, "No, we're not stopping this match." Reigns then dragged Jay to the middle of the ring and continued his beatdown. Jimmy couldn't handle it anymore, and he just threw the towel in anyways. As he was teasing throwing in the towel, Roman kept yelling at Jimmy as well, "You better acknowledge me as your tribal chief. Call me the tribal chief." So finally, after the match, Roman stands up. Jimmy jumps in to check on Jay, and he yells at Roman, "You're the tribal chief. Is that what you want to hear? You're the tribal chief. There you go." Heyman then placed Jay's lei around Roman's neck as he posed with the title as the show went off the air. And that was it.
So good.
Yeah.
Jimmy, first of all, it's smart of Jimmy to jump in and cover his brother because he's not cleared for contact.
Right.
So Roman can't go after him anyway, and you still see the knee brace on. So it's perfect. Taking the lei and putting it on Roman, it was so symbolic and so perfect because Jay comes out with that lei, and that's his daddy's lei.
Right.
That's what he was in the ring. And now he's saying, "I'm the man now. This is my lei. This is my family." But think about it. The tribal chief, no one wants to acknowledge that Roman's a tribal chief because the tribal chief is a guy who just released a video today endorsing presidential candidates. He's the moneymaker. He's the guy
Right.
family, the money. So that's the story that I want to see play out. I want to see him I want to see Roman take out the entire Anoa'i family and anyone adjacent to it. I don't care until Dwayne DJ says enough.
Well, I haven't watched the video, but there was a video that went up on The Rock's YouTube about him possibly facing Roman Reigns. I haven't seen the video, though.
It's the only match Dwayne wants. It's the
Right.
only match Dwayne wants.
Yep.
And now's the perfect time to do it because Hollywood isn't doing much right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So with that, the show just goes off the air and no tease of anything. As we saw on Friday with SmackDown, they did a kind of Fiend tease with Alexa Bliss staring down Roman Reigns. So I thought maybe at least at the end of the show, the lights would go red and we hear the laugh or something. But nothing. No tease of what's next for Roman Reigns.
I mean, I don't.
Go ahead, Tim.
Like, I don't know. Maybe Jimmy's okay. And that's next month.
Well, Jay spoke with TalkSport like this week and said Jimmy won't be back till January, February.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he was just saying that because he knows Jimmy's coming back sooner and didn't want people to think after what we see tonight. Maybe like you're thinking, oh, he showed up tonight, so he's going to come back soon. But with Jay in that interview saying, oh, my brother won't be ready till next year, throwing everybody off. I mean, how long was it for Edge to say, I'm not coming back, oh, you're in the Rumble? Melina did it too. She said, oh, that's all false. I didn't sign a new contract. Well, everybody I've talked to said no, she has.
Mm-hmm. Melina's not exactly the queen of discretion.
What were you going to say, Joel?
I was going to say, I kind of got lost out of my train of thought, that I think Alexa Bliss was going to have more on tonight's show, but didn't, given all of the plans that were scrapped at the last second. I do believe that they're going to have Bray and The Fiend be a vessel through which Alexa is the communicator.
Right.
And you won't Bray in person until The Fiend comes back, whenever that is. And I don't think they're going to do it right away. But maybe by TLC or maybe by Survivor Series. I just think Hell in a Cell, there's going to be another Uso / Anoa'i collision.
So with that was Clash of Champions. I thought it exceeded my expectations. I'll say that for sure. I had very low expectations going into the show. I thought it would be an all right show, but there was a few things, the final 2 matches, the ladder match and whatnot, all were really, really good matches. What are you guys' takeaway? Joel, go first.
Same thing. I was coming in with low expectations. A lot of things were then tossed around literally at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a good show. It was pretty much lived up to the expectations. We knew the matches that were going to be great, and they delivered.
Tim, what are your final takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, pay-per-views have been a bit up and down. 3 really, in my opinion, tremendous matches makes it stand out.
Oh yeah,
a lot more than I ever would have expected. Because again, like you, I went in thinking that this was just going to be fine, a safe pay-per-view.
Exactly.
But no, it really kind of shone more than I thought it would.
But with that, guys, it we always do to wrap up our reviews and stuff. We take it to you guys, the live chat, or if you guys want to be part of the show, you can text in to 510-906-1341. Got a couple text messages here. First person says, who do you see challenging and taking the tag titles from Nakamura and Cesaro? That's a tough one because there's not really many tag teams actually established together. Especially not especially on SmackDown, on either side of the brands. There are no real tag teams that can challenge, to be honest.
Just get the Lucha House Party back in order, get them together long enough to win the tag titles, have Cesaro and Nakamura split off, do their own thing, maybe for the Intercontinental Championship, and then from there, once Tucker and Otis finish up this whole Money in the Bank fiasco, have those 4 people, those 2 teams, put themselves out in the tag team title picture.
I just feel like
they're going to run back that tag championship match. It's going to happen.
I feel like they're teasing. It was weird because leading up to tonight, it was so much teases of Kalisto was going to turn on the team, and then he was just one of the guys in the match, and they were all fine, which was very weird.
Not shocked.
The next message here says, do you think that Bayley and Sasha feud is ruined with doing Hell in a Cell coming up and having the match inside the cell? I feel like it's not ruined, but I wouldn't have done the cell first. And Joel, I know you mentioned that earlier too.
Yeah, they're a victim of timing. They couldn't do it at SummerSlam, which is the joke everyone makes is that they're saving it for SummerSlam, and it's been for the last 2-3 years. But they really couldn't this time because there were no fans and it wasn't in Boston, so the big Sasha Banks moment wasn't going to happen there. And then they kind of played it out until they realized, well, nothing's going to change in the world, so let's just play it out now, and then we'll have 6 months to play it out till Mania. Should it be in the cell? Yes. Should it be the first match in the cell? Probably not. But at this point, the cell is just a toy-driven pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Just a buy toy. Just like the other nights.
I mean, we know that Sasha can do good things in the cell from past experience. So I'm curious to see that match. I do want to see it. I feel like there would have to be some other stipulation-based buffer match, and then if they do it at Mania, I can see it being a straight-up singles match, but the pressure put on those two is going to be incredible. Because they're going to have to outdo their match in NXT, but now they're older and more experienced. But geez, that it just seems like a lot of weight to put on your shoulder. You could do it, and it could be tremendous, but that level of pressure, it could also be disastrous. So I don't know.
The next text message here is asking if we saw that tweet from Nia Jax about Shayna Baszler, quote unquote, expecting. We talked about that earlier. It's basically her probably just trolling everybody.
She's a member of Retribution already.
Look, you got to keep up with T-Bar, so I get it.
This person here says, with the draft coming up, do you think Seth Rollins should be drafted over to SmackDown? And should Sasha Banks be drafted over to Raw just to switch some things up and keep her away from Bayley and do something new with Seth Rollins? I mean, I don't know what they should do in the draft. I think it's kind of like they wait till the week of and go, oh, crap, we need to figure stuff out. That's what they did with the last draft. It was basically they kept the brands the same except for switching one or two guys here and there. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing here. It's just going to be another, what do they call it? What's the word that they call it when they used to do it right after WrestleMania?
Superstar shakeup.
There you go, superstar shakeup, where like 5 people get moved and that's about it. Everything else is the same.
Yeah, Seth's taking some time off in the near future now.
I would assume
Yeah.
when Becky has the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to pull up a list of superstars right now and just kind of map out what's what. But to be honest with you, my bar is so low for this draft. All I want is for WWE socials and the WWE website not to post the entire draft
Right.
on the site the day of. That's all.
Now, I have heard a rumor of McIntyre probably being moved over to SmackDown, and Roman said in a recent interview he wants a big match with McIntyre, as him as the heel, McIntyre the babyface, to switch it up from what they did before.
There's room for that, and it would be a great match. I just don't know where it would fit in a meaningful story.
Exactly.
Does it happen now? Can you wait a year to get there? Because I think if you do it in the next draft or the next superstar shakeup or the next quarterly invitational, whatever they call it, bring it on then. For now, I don't think it works.
What if maybe McIntyre wins the Rumble again 2 years in a row? Roman's still the champion. He then challenges Roman for the title, goes to Mania, wins the title for the second year of Mania, but this time gets that big pop, and you've built Roman up as this big hated heel that the crowd would go crazy. It's just as crazy for him beating Roman for the title than they would have him beating Brock for the title.
Stone Cold Drew McIntyre up in this.
Right. This person says, what do you see being McIntyre's next program with the WWE Championship? I wouldn't mind Edge getting a WWE title run. Too early for Edge. I've heard that Edge probably won't be coming back till closer to like January, February time.
Edge is not going to work with anyone other than Orton to finish off his story.
Right.
When he's back, it's just going to be Orton. That's going to be the end of Edge in WWE. That's going to be his fairy tale ending, or not. But I think that's what Edge wants to do, is just that one last story that just caps off his career.
And then to wrap this all up, one last text message. This is actually pretty interesting. This person says, do you think we could get heel Usos and a Roman Reigns stable?
The bloodline.
The bloodline. Like Roman beat Jay down so bad that he's like, bro, you're legit. I just got to be on your side instead of against you now.
Short answer is yes. The long answer is, how do you get there?
Exactly.
Is it going to be, is it a forced respect storyline because now it's all about who's the tribal chief, who's the man in charge? Is there room for other tag teams on the SmackDown roster to get involved after that? Because you assume if you want all 3 of them to hold the titles, then that's what you have to do. You have to find those tag to match up against the Usos.
Yeah, I think they'd end up doing it like a mob storyline where you have like kind of begrudging, meek subservience to it, where it's like they're just waiting for the right opportunity to ascend, but like they'll play along in the chain of command for now.
Also, I do like Throwback's comment here in the chat. He says, if Rock comes back, Vince could give him the number 30 spot in the Rumble, could then set up career versus title retirement match with Roman and Mania.
Yeah.
Roman goes over in that match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rock will do the honors easily for his, for his, and that would be a great idea. I like Throwback's idea. It works. Yeah.
So with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining us here tonight to talk about WWE Clash of Champions. Remember, if you did miss any of this review, it will be up later right here on Twitch as a video on demand or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. You can find us other places like Twitter at PWUnlimited. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Search for us on Instagram and check out these guys. Joel, Tim, where can they find you guys?
Tim, it's your birthday. Take the honors.
I am honored. I feel honored. You can find me at Tim Stone Piledriver on Instagram. There's nothing up there yet. I'm still figuring out what I want to say to the world. But for more wrestling interested purposes, you can look me up at Tim Stone P, just as it is below my face right now on Twitter.
And for me, you can find me at Joel Pearl. That's JoelPearl, like it is underneath, or I guess above. And you can find us on Twitter at Tim and Joel Pod. We're also on Instagram. You can find us on anchor.fm/Tim-and-Joel. You got to fix that URL. And speaking of URL, if you find us on YouTube, we're trying to get to 100 subs on YouTube so we can change our URL. So you can sub to us on YouTube. Just search Tim and Joel, Call It in the Ring.
Awesome. I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight. I hope we can do this again for another pay-per-view or whenever. I thought this was really good. I had a lot of fun. So thank you guys for joining us here live on Twitch, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. We'll be live again tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. So have a good night, and we'll see you next time.